Okay. What's up, world? Good morning. Today is Thursday. And like I said last Thursday, you know, this is the moment where I share a piece of who I am as well as my work experience. And I just want y'all to take the time to subscribe, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Because I promise you, what I share on a day-to-day basis as well as on Thursdays is something to like. It's something that you should follow. I promise you. Let's get it, y'all. Another episode. Okay. What up, world? What's going on? Another Thursday. And today is the day where I start sharing some of my... Today is the day where I start sharing my work history along with my work experiences. And so I thought the best way to start this thing out this Thursday would be from the beginning. Ain't no reason to skip any parts and take y'all from, say, the beginning or somewhere in the middle, back to the beginning, back to the end, back to the, whatever, to skip parts. So I'm going to start from the beginning, right? And so the beginning starts like this. And I'm also going to still incorporate some of my, demographic or some personal information along with my stories. So that way y'all better get to understand who I am as well, right? So I'm going to start with, I was born. This for all y'all that want to know where I'm from, where I was born. Okay, so I'm an Illinois baby. I was born in Dixon, Illinois. A little small town, about I say the population now is probably about 16,000, just about, right? So I was born there, and the story goes for me and my two siblings that I was only there for maybe 8 months after I was born. And then my brother and sister's dad, for those of y'all that have been following me, he took me, my mother, and my sister, whom was in my mother's room at the time, and we moved to Florida, right? So my brother and sister were both born in Florida. That's Pensacola, Florida, and Jacksonville, Florida. And I went to school in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, right? So when y'all hear me say in my theme song, man, my whole life I've been on the go, like, we really been a lot of places in our lives. And we didn't come back to Dixon, Illinois until I was 13 years old, going on 14. And as far as how I got to California and Los Angeles, I'll share more of that as I continue to tell these stories on a every Thursday basis, right? So now that y'all got that part of understanding that part of who I am and where I come from, now I'm gonna get into the story, right? So I was raised to be everything that you're supposed to be, as far as understanding organizational skills, being prompt, waking up for school on time and all of that stuff. I was really raised with those good set of principles, right? So early on, as far as learning the value of a dollar, my mom made sure she kind of instilled that in us very early, right? So I remember being 8, 9 years old, and my mom having a girlfriend named Gloria, where she wanted me to babysit, a 3-4 month old baby for her girlfriend Gloria as she went to work. And that was only a couple times, that I did that. So alongside of that, my mom would have me, check and see if the neighbors wanted their grass cut in the summertime, make a couple dollars. In fact, I even cut our own grass, and my mom would give me a couple dollars every now and then, But, for the most part, my mom wasn't big on allowances and stuff like that. So, she did when she could do it and afford it. But, just to give y'all a little bit of how my mom was trying to instill earning your money and learning responsibilities, right? So, fast forward, kind of speed it up, right? Okay. Let's see. So, I was really 13 years old when I had my first real job. And that's when we moved back to Dixon, Illinois from Millington, Tennessee. Yeah, we lived in Millington, Tennessee, which is another naval base, military-oriented city/town that we lived in, alongside of Meridian, Mississippi as well. We lived in all those places, and we did live in Jamestown, New York for a brief moment as well. So just kind of letting y'all know, like, we've really been a lot of places in my life, and my mom is the reason why I understand what it is to just, like, not just go literally, but to go physically for yours as well, in the work field. So I was about 13 years old when I got my real job. And when we moved to Dixon, Illinois, we moved with someone who was like a father figure to me and the rest of my other two siblings. And he was from Memphis, Tennessee. So he was like a father figure, and he had been a part of our lives. My mom had, talked this man, whom was not just her boyfriend but her everything, to move to Dixon, Illinois with us, right? The year 93, 13 going on 14. So when we moved up there, it was August, and it wasn't quite time for school, and there was probably about probably at least 3.5 weeks, almost 4 weeks left, right, before we had to be to school. So my mom had told me about getting a job so I can have some money to just get me some school clothes, school supplies and whatnot. But I was definitely focused on the school clothes, because if I'm gonna make my own money, then I'm gonna get me some Nikes, I'm gonna get me some clothes that I really wanted to wear and everything like that, right? So, because my mom, she didn't buy that type of stuff, she didn't buy no brand name nothing for me. And when I first started wearing brand name stuff, it's because I paid for it out of my own pocket, right? So I ended up working in the cornfield on the outskirts of Dixon, Illinois for 3 weeks, about 3.5 weeks, right? About 3 weeks. And it was the hardest job I ever had. The hardest damn job I ever had. I mean, it was my first real job. And I had to be in that cornfield at 6 a.m. sharp, which meant we would go to Dixon High School and catch the bus, a school bus, which was about 2 school buses that loaded up any and everybody that was trying to work in this cornfield, you know, in the outskirts of Dixon. So we had to be in that cornfield at 6 a.m. sharp, but we had to be on that bus at 5:30 a.m., right? Fast forward, I hated it. I didn't like it, man. You had to get up and be out there with all the moisture and the dew on all of those corn stalks throughout all of them acres, and walk through and pick whatever it was called a tassel from the corn stalk, right? And I'm wearing long sleeves, pants, you know, I packed the lunch, of course, and you know, I got skin irritations, man. So as you're out there in the moisture and all that dew and all that, you know, water coming off of the corn stalks and stuff, and getting on your long sleeves or whatnot, and then as it warms up to the noon hour, now you want to come up out of the long sleeves, but you really still can't because the stuff itches, man. It itches so bad, right? At least for me, I had eczema growing up, skin irritation to grass and hay fever, allergies and stuff like that. So it was kind of hell for me being in this cornfield. After the first week, I wanted to quit. I really did. But my mama insisted that I hang in there and that I do it, right? That I learn responsibility, that I learn what it is to stay on the job and see it all the way through. So I seen it all the way through, y'all. And I ended up getting myself, you know, some clothes, not much, you know, because it was only like almost a 3-week check, right? All in one. So at that time, I think, man, minimum wage was $8 or something, you know, almost $7, almost $8. So I didn't make anything after taxes other than about $300 some odd or something, right? So it wasn't much, but I was happy to have, you know, seen that job all the way through, and you know, got my own clothes to start the school year. And even though it wasn't much, I was proud of myself that I did that, right? So fast forward, and I mean I'm about to fast forward now, so y'all can get into my occupational lane as far as me being a warehouse guy and driving forklifts, and you know, that's my lane. That's what I do, and that's what I'm great at. So fast forward, 93 going into 94. Now, but we're going to start at the top of January. The top of January of 94, well, I'll say late January of 94, the new year. We just got there. There was a hell of a storm, winter storm that came. And Michael, which was my mom's boyfriend, her the love of her life, her everything, he ended up dying in a bad car accident. It was his first time driving in real snow. He's from the South, and he never had driven in anything like this. And this was our first real winter storm in Illinois, right? So, you know, we had been telling Michael about the snowstorms, and when that one good snowstorm comes, we couldn't wait to see it and you know, just go sledding or whatever, you know, just want him to see that real good snowstorm. And when he's seen it, he actually seen it in the worst way possible. And he ended up losing his life and was hit by a school bus on the bridge in a nearby town called Rock Falls, Illinois. And so that was the moment for me that changed me forever and got, you know, drifted me towards looking towards the streets, because that was my father figure, that was my role model, that was my everything. And for him to pass away, at such a vital moment in my life where I was, a teenager, a young teen, trying to figure out how to be a young man and everything. I thought he was going to be there forever, man, So that right there was how, the story of me going the wrong direction with my life, with my legal troubles began, right? So Michael passed away in 94. We did his funeral down there in Memphis, Tennessee, and buried him not that far from Graceland or whatnot. So the summer of 94 came, and my mom ended up finding a job training program for young teens that want to work but can't quite work for real other than the summer because they're not of age, right? So I ended up working through the JTPA, which stands for Job Training Program Association for Teens, right? And I ended up working, as well as my sister that's a year younger than me. We both ended up getting jobs. And I ended up working at the middle school, and it was interesting because I was getting ready to start my high school year as a freshman. So I returned that summer to the junior high school that I just attended to actually be a janitor and custodian assistant, buffering floors, waxing floors, sweeping and mopping and all of that stuff, right? So I was pretty good at that, and I didn't mind that. It was a pretty cool job, and I made quite a bit of money, a whole lot more money than I did in that cornfield, right? So I was content, and my mom was content, and she even helped with getting me to Rockford, Illinois.